Hey everyone, we are live with another Tuesday Newsday, episode 9. Here it is April 16th. Welcome to the show, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We've already got 78 viewers, so thank you so much for being here. You're just a hot button item, Ray.
Okay.
I'm excited to have you here. For everyone who doesn't know, this is our line developer of BattleTech, Ray Arrastia. Am I saying that right?
Arrastia, yeah.
Awesome. So, gosh, I'm excited to have you here and talk about some stuff. We do have some announcements first. So let me pull up my, I always look at the description, because that's like my script to know what I'm here to talk about today. So first off, Mercenary shipping update, or lack thereof. QML was hoping to get us some stuff by Friday of last week. New date to get us stuff is hopefully today. We are still waiting. So I just got an update from Lauren that he's hoping that they'll have it to him today, but he is still waiting. So as soon as we know, you'll know, and we'll get those prices updated. Thank you guys so much for your patience, by the way. I know it's not fun waiting for this, but we want to make sure that it's right. So I thought last Friday was kind of a fast turnaround, so I'm glad that they're taking their time to make sure that it's accurate, that everyone is. So second update I have, I am so excited for this, you guys. There is going to be a new Shadowrun actual play series, and it starts this coming Monday on 6 Sides of Gaming. The premiere link is already in the description. I can actually drop it in chat too. Look at us go here. Thanks mods for being here. I should probably plan this better so that you guys can do this for me. But hey, I can just have 2 YouTubes open. It's fine. Paste. There y'all go. So I'm so excited. This is called World of Shadows. The cast is going to be a lot of fun. So we've got Tommy and Devin from 6 Sides of Gaming, Tommy Gofton and Devin Wilson. Tommy is playing a street samurai-ish face, and named, oh gosh, Chronostatic. And then we've got Devin Wilson playing a dwarf Decker, and like, he's everyone's, you're supposed to hate him, but you kind of love him. Like, that's that character. So I'm really excited for that. We've got amazing game designer Elisa Teague. She's had her hand in so many things that you guys will recognize. Most recently, I know she was the project lead on the Essence 20 system for Renegade. That ended up coming out with Power Rangers and Transformers and G.I. Joe and all of that stuff. So those RPGs, she is phenomenal. So the fact that she is playing with us, she is an elf technomancer. And then finally, we've got KP. I'm not going to try his last name. KP is wonderful. You can find him at KP11 Studios. And KP has been a photographer for the industry. He's, if you check out his socials, he's been doing headshots for a lot of people in the gaming industry lately. And all of the photos that you see us promoting for the show on socials, they're his. So he took all the photos, he did all the editing, just phenomenal. So very cyberpunk. And he is playing a troll street sam named Jim Bob Jim, which I am just the biggest fan of. So that starts Monday. They are going to be easy little 1-hour episodes. We've got 20 in season 1. We start in Seattle and we'll be hitting Chicago in season 1. This story arc is very near and dear to me. Oh, I should probably say as well, I'm going to be the GM. So I'm so excited, guys. I know, there's so much to Shadowrun, and I'm so excited to have brought people into this world in particular that I love, because we are playing in the same world that I got to start playing in. So when I found Shadowrun, for those who haven't heard my story, I was playing in a D&D group with my boyfriend at the time and his friends, and this new guy came to the group, and he's one of the writers for Shadowrun, Scott Schletz. And when our D&D campaign ended, he was like, I want to run this cyberpunk fantasy game for you. And I'm like, that sounds real stupid. So I was so not into it, but I was in theater at the time, and I went through a show and kind of started going through character withdrawal. And I was like, I guess I'll give a crap now. And as I started getting into the game and the character and the setting and the world that he made, I was smitten. So my company has actually done a trailer for a live action Shadowrun adjacent cyberpunk fantasy series called Chicago Shadows. So we've done a live action trailer and hope to do more with that in the future. But COVID happened and then life took off and stuff like that. So to be able to play in the world that first captured my attention and is a story I want to tell at some point as well. This story happens adjacent to that one. So there's going to be like Easter eggs throughout everything. We also have plans to do one-shots at conventions on the main stage that will have little peeks behind the curtain from this main story as well. So some of the bad guys might make reappearances. Some of the story arcs or the threads that this team didn't get to pull, you might get to see some of that in the future with some guest stars and things along that line. So I'm really excited. This is a Catalyst sponsored show, so we'll be dual streaming here and over on Six Sides of Gaming. And I just can't wait to share this story with you guys. So I'm so excited. All right, I went on long enough about that. Then we've got upcoming events. So I wanted to it's been a few, I think like the first episode or second episode, I gave you guys an update on where Catalyst is going to be in terms of booth presence at upcoming shows. So here's kind of May and June's schedule at this point. We will be at Chupacabracon in Austin, Texas, May 17th to the 19th. This is our first time going to the show. We've got some attendees there. John Helfers is going to be there. Philip Lee and Russell Zimmerman. So you're going to get some of our author friends over in Texas. There's going to be BattleTech demo agents playing. There's and I think I might try to run a Shadowrun game over there as well. So so head on over to Austin if you're in the area. Really excited to be there. ACD Games Day is a retailer trade show. So that is in Madison, Wisconsin, May 22nd to the 24th. So if you or your local game store is close to that, you may want to encourage them to go and see all of the cool things that are coming from Catalyst throughout this year. We have been dabbling and giving some previews at the trade shows of things coming up like Voltron, and some of our Runefire partnerships and things like that. So things that aren't really out in the wild yet, you're starting to get some sneak peeks at the trade shows. Get retailers excited. Then I'm super excited because Catalyst is going international for a couple of shows and events. So we are going to Asmodee Retailer Show. This is another trade show for retailers in the UK. It's in Birmingham, May 30th. Followed immediately by UK Games Expo, which is May 31st through June 2nd, also in Birmingham. And then we get a day to travel over to Asmodee Nordics, which is in Copenhagen, Denmark. So I will be at that one. I'll be at UK Games Expo and Asmodee Retailer Show, and Randall and Mike Ritchie and I think Bryn are gonna be at UK Games Expo. So come on over and say hi. GamesConCanada, taking us further international here, is going to be June 14th through the 16th in Edmonton, Alberta. And we are finally announcing Origins Game Fair. We will be back. It is going to be a much smaller presence than you guys are used to. But we are going to be there. We are going to have the demo team there. We are going to have some of the basic staples and the some of the new releases with the 40th anniversary box sets and all of that stuff at Origins. So come say hi. Next is Randall's tour dates. So if you've been following us on socials, Randall is doing, what are they calling it, Ray? Is it the Reunification
Mhm.
World Tour?
Correct.
Okay.
Hmm.
So, what does that mean?
Um, it's just a reference to something about like the reunification war. It was the start of the Star League when everybody came together and beat up on the little guys.
Oh, okay, cool. So, beat up on the little guy with us.
Yeah.
Um, as Randall's tour continues, I know he's been hitting a lot of stores. He gets a month at home now, and then he's back on the road. So European Nationals he'll be at. That's May 18th and 19th in Barcelona. Then we've got the English Nationals, May 25th and 26th in Leeds, UK. He will be at UK Games Expo, as we discussed. And then he's going to be heading to Ireland, Irish Madness, June 8th and 9th in Limerick, and GamesConCanada. So, with that, I kind of want to jump over to you, Ray, because you're on this tour too, right?
That's correct. Aaron and myself are extending the tour. We had planned to do so from the beginning, but we don't have those dates nailed down.
Okay.
I can tell you that roughly leading into Gen Con, Aaron and I will be going from Baltimore to Indianapolis and making stops on the way. So we're going to extend the tour there. Figure about a month later, around the time of Dragon Con, I'm going to be going up the East Coast from Florida, South Florida, to Atlanta at least, and
Ooh.
probably beyond there. So we don't have that nailed down, but we're in the process of it right now. So there will be more stops added to that world tour.
That's awesome. Cool.
Mhm.
So we're hitting the South this year. We're hitting the East Coast. We're on the West Coast. We're in the Midwest. And then we're hitting parts of, and then I know Randall's also going to be continuing in the fall because he goes to Essen in Germany, and then I don't know if those dates have been decided yet. So stay tuned for more appearances from Ray. And then I believe the whole point of the reunification tour, not only are you visiting game stores and playing BattleTech and kind of getting in touch with the community, but there's something special if they come up and ask to shake your hand, right?
Right. We are giving out these. Oh, no, I don't have them on hand. We're giving out World Tour patches for the 40th anniversary.
I think I have one. Let's see what happens. I want to grab one for you guys, but I have to turn my camera off for a second to do that. So let's see what that does to the video while I run and grab that real fast. You can keep talking about it, Ray.
Okay, where's my script? Line.
I'm coming back. I'm coming back. Okay. All right, so camera on. All right, so here we go.
There it is. Mm-hmm.
I got this one from Ray. So you can just, if you are going to be at any of these events that that Ray or Aaron or Randall are going to, just ask if you can shake their hands to get a patch, and this is just being done for the reunification tour. So so check that out. Cool. All right, so we talked about that. Ray, I kind of just want to play the get to know you game now. I feel like since I started, it's kind of been like, hi, we're in a meeting together, and here's all the things. We got to do all the things, and we don't really ever get a chance to talk. So what's your, like, how did you first get into BattleTech?
At the beginning of high school, a mutual friend introduced our group to the game, and you know, we were instantly hooked. I know that what got me initially was the I ran up to my friend's rifleman, which was in a ditch. I did a kick, wound up kicking his head off. So that was my introduction to the game. And that was just amazing that you could do that. After that point, I started collecting as much BattleTech as I could, and the world building at that time, you know, early and fast, was just amazing. The the little bits that they would have in the rule books. Then they came out with the house books and just tons and tons of fake future history, which as a history nerd, I just ate all that up and I thought it was incredible. I've been hooked ever since. I got into working in BattleTech little by little. Turn of the century, just I signed up as a demo agent, and at the time they had a fanzine. I got involved in that, and I got the attention of the Band Pro general manager at the time, as well as Randall and Herbert Bees. And I just started doing odd jobs. My background is in production and design and pre-production. And so I just have a lot of background skills that may be kind of useful. I started to do layout. I did artwork, design. I'm so deep into BattleTech that I started to get into the discussions with, the developers and stuff and help out with fact check and things like that. Ironwind Metals, I met them around 2004 and developed a relationship with them. And Camo Specs, I think a few years later, I was one of the original members of the painting team.
Ooh.
I just wound up getting involved all over. I've been in the community since there was an online community. And that's just how I got my start. It's become more and more involved.
Cool. I didn't know that that you did painting on your own and you were involved in Camo Specs, and you mentioned art. So were you an artist at all then?
Uh-huh. Yeah.
I didn't know that. I want to see some Ray Arrastia art.
Some of the early Catalyst stuff, Brush Wars. I did art for that. I did art for, what is it? Sword and the Wolf, I think. The Word of Blake Dragoon source book.
Cool. Was that stuff still the line art instead of the colored prints, or had that transitioned
I did both.
by then? Okay.
I did both paintings and line art.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, so you got into BattleTech through one of those classic stories. Like I get that. My first one was we were kind of dancing around each other. And I got bored with that real quickly, so I charged in, not realizing that he was actually elevation levels up, and he tried to DFA from me, on me, missed, and killed himself. So I never even hit him the entire time. So I was like, okay.
Those are really good books to get you interested in the game itself, and then from there, the universe is really cool.
Yeah, I'm very excited about the universe book, and I want to talk about that a little bit in a minute here. But I think I found my niche in terms of classic. I have not played Alpha Strike yet, but in terms of classic, I like grinders. I am very competitive, and I might hold grudges when people shoot me. So it's been fun to. Every time someone targets me, I'm like, okay, I'm going to target this person first, then this person next, and this person next, because you come at me, you're going to find out.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of fun. Cool. So from doing all of the art and layout and writing and editing and all of the everything and painting, what did it look like becoming line developer? Like, when did that happen, and what was that conversation like? Is there a story there?
It's hard to pinpoint because I had been working behind the scenes for so long. There were some points where I could say this now. I was acting as line developer when there wasn't one. And after a while, and you can look through some of the products and PDFs, I started to give myself titles. I just started to make some up because I was essentially the layout guy, but was running things. But then there was a turning point which resulted in Brent becoming the line developer. So around that time, maybe it was a little bit earlier, that they gave me the title of assistant line developer.
Okay.
It was right. It was either right when Brent stepped into the position, or maybe just a little bit earlier, I think. And it wasn't necessarily surprising that I stepped into the role. It's just that Brent already had a lot on his plate with being the Catalyst art director.
Yeah.
And I was already there, and I was already doing a lot of the work, and I was helping him as much as I can, where he was, you know, being the line developer, he had the vision and he was driving things. Which is, again, then to say that the biggest thing I've had to deal with taking the job is stepping away from things and delegating more. I'm just so used to being hands-on with everything.
Yeah.
So the biggest change was that in the initial phone call when I was given the job, Lauren said, the one thing you don't have to worry about is story and fiction. Those aren't yours. They don't belong to you. You don't touch them. Don't worry about it. You have the seat at the table to discuss things. That I always had been, but you don't have to worry about that. It was probably within a week or two before I was in charge of story. So that was a gigantic change, but it's been one of the more fulfilling parts of the role.
So it sounds like I got to give you my catchphrase, I think, with Lauren at this point, whenever something new gets added, is I think then it's time to renegotiate my salary.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I muttered something earlier. I said it's that time of year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Well, cool. So the line developer story, and then we were just recently in Seattle together. Gosh, was that the beginning of March, end of February-ish? And
yeah.
Sometimes, like, getting to know you and your reactions to things, sometimes I'm not always clued in to the context of why something happens. So I remember seeing the first copy of Universe, and Randall handed it to you, and you were sitting next to me on the couch, and I remember you just holding it kind of reverently, and then you just said, "My anxiety just spiked." So tell us the story of Universe and why Randall calls it your magnum opus.
The concept for that book has been around a long time. Back in 2007, when the idea of, a brand new core line, which became the Total Warfare core line, I believe it was maybe 3 books planned. I don't know how many we wound up with, but it was just a case of writing rules, realizing that the book had been overwritten, so we just split it off into another book, and then another and another, and so on. But the cap end to that series was always supposed to be the Universe book. And at some point, it was just dropped. It's not going to work. When we were brainstorming the Clan Invasion Kickstarter, I brought that up as, at the time, a pretty easy product that we could squeeze into the Kickstarter. Lauren talked me out of it, which I'm very grateful for, but said, start working on it anyway. So that was great. It was added to the lineup, but how many years is that? That's about 5-6 years then that book's been floating around. We wanted sort of a nice entryway for non-BattleTech people to get into and understand the universe and appreciate it. Whereas longtime fans can have something themselves to just say, this is BattleTech right here in this book. We didn't want to go sort of the almanac route where we did a timeline year by year. We just wanted a general thing that once you thumb through this book and digest it, you know BattleTech. You've got the lay of the land. Because I know in the 40 years or so, those of us that are real big fans, when we want to share that enthusiasm with people, we tend to turn on the fire hose.
What?
And scare people away. I think this book is going to be a good bridge between not knowing anything and then appreciating the universe. But getting there was really, really, really difficult because everybody working on it we're all BattleTech fans. We know this stuff inside and out. And I had to do several passes on the book where I would read line by line and pretend I didn't know anything. So I'd read something and it's referencing the inner sphere. Okay. All of us know what the inner sphere is, but what the hell does that mean? Those two words. And line by line, I'd go through and I'd ask myself, what's the context here? Are we lacking context? Do we need a sidebar? Do we need a graphic? And it must have been 3 or 4 passes. Just that alone, just my work once the book was done was probably a year.
Wow.
And it pretty much had to be, dragged away from me. As far as the anxiety spikes, now coming full circle, it's because with the depth and breadth of the universe, there's plenty that we left on the cutting room floor, things that we didn't get into. We didn't want to get into rabbit holes and out into the weeds, but there are still times that I wake up in the middle of the night thinking, oh, I forgot to put this.
Oh no. Oh no.
So that's why after having been months away from that material and it was handed to me, I'm like, I don't want to look at this. I don't want to see what's missing. I don't want to see what I may have done wrong. All that said, I'm really, really proud of the work, and I can't wait until it's out there in the wild and not just all the fans' reactions. I want to see the reactions of people where that's their first experience with this book.
Yeah. I'm super excited. I wish this had been available when I started. When I negotiated my contract with Lauren for the first time, I asked for 10% of my time to be set aside just for education. Like, I pay me 10% of my time to read BattleTech books and play the game and be able to get into it. And of course, with the fire hose that is any job within Catalyst, it didn't happen. And there's just so much. And I'm really looking forward to having something that I can just read cover to cover and then choose what I like. It's like being told, like, you've never had food and then saying, well, what do you want to eat? It's like, I don't know. So I want to know, like, am I a clan person? Am I a mercenaries person? Am I, like, I don't know. And I'm really excited to just kind of have it all laid out where I can take a look at all of it and then be like, this part seems really cool. I want to know more about this.
That's exactly one of the goals. That's exactly right.
Yeah. Cool. Oh, I'm so excited for this, Ray. Is there like a favorite page or passage or art piece or anything that you're looking forward to the world seeing?
There's several. It's hard to pick out one, but one thing that sticks out is in the different sections we open up with in-universe quotes. And it was really fun to find the right quotes, and where there wasn't one, create them. Not necessarily from whole cloth, but for example, we know that there are passages in the Remembrance. The clan's sort of epic poem / Bible. They all have their own. So, we created one piece for the Nova Cats. We more or less know what's in there, but this is the first time it's written. Little things like that. We expounded on the founder of the Star League, Ian Cameron, some quotes that he had. We took those that exist and expanded. Things like that were just really cool because, well, again, we're making up fake future history. Yeah. And that was a lot of fun.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Oh, yay, Ray. It's coming soon.
Yep. I know it's real. I held it.
Have you gotten to see a physical copy of the Presenter Marshall edition?
Yes, I actually saw it and thumbed through it at Adepticon.
Oh, right. What was that like? Do you like, was that extra special, or are you like, nah, just give me the book?
Well, that's one of those cases that we have once in a while where being in at the ground floor and being part of the planning, where that's a really special item. So we started with pie in the sky,
Mm-hmm.
I think. So to actually hold the thing, I can't see it brand new and say, wow, this is really cool, all these bells and whistles and things we included. Because I'm just thinking of what could have been and all the crazy,
Oh,
that we had to put aside.
you're a
So
glass half empty kind of guy, aren't you?
yes.
So, what about you, Ray? So, BattleTech aside, like
Mhm.
I think I saw recently. I don't, unless I'm making this up. Maybe I'm making this up. I haven't slept well in like 3 days, so like you tell me. I saw somewhere that you were more into role playing
Right.
games. Like
Yep.
what? Like what? How do? Tell us about like who are you as a gamer without BattleTech?
Um, Definitely my favorite pastime are role playing. I don't necessarily have one set thing. We could talk about systems, in which case I'm a huge fan of Pinnacle Savage Worlds. I like a lot of what Green Ronin has put out,
Me too.
their Age products. Huge fan of Mutants and Masterminds, the current third edition, and I believe they're working on a fourth. I'm really excited about.
You like crunchy systems then?
Well, I would say those are middle of the road
Mutants
crunch.
and Masterminds is middle tier.
Yeah, yeah, third edition. They streamlined the heck out of it. Um, and same thing with Savage Worlds. Savage Worlds can be crunchy. Well, look, I came from Crunch, like BattleTech,
Fair.
and my favorite RPG back in the day was GURPS.
Mm.
So that's crunch, and the hero system.
Mm-hmm.
I wait, who makes hero system? Isn't it Hero Games? DOJ? But that's super crunchy. So I prefer middle of the road stuff or even rules light. Another one of my favorite ones is Fate from Evil Hat.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Okay.
So that those sort of systems are my jam. As far as which games in particular, just just about anything. Star Wars, Star Trek, I'm big fans of. So whether using the actual rules that have been put out for those IPs
Yeah.
or sort of my own thing using those systems,
Right.
comic book superhero stuff, um, or anything, any genre to play. I
Cool.
love role playing games.
That's awesome. Oh, neat. We're gonna have to sit down and play at something sometime.
Sure.
Awesome. All right. Cool. Um, so we're gonna start with Q&A in about 5 minutes or so. But
Okay.
before then, I want to hear from you. Like, what are some of the things for BattleTech that are coming out this year, especially with the 40th anniversary? And what are you most excited to see? And any ideas on when stuff is dropping that you're allowed to talk about too?
Okay, that's all right. You have to forgive me because once the product is in the can,
Uh-huh.
I don't know when it's coming out, where it is, or any of that. So I have to kind of backtrack a little bit. The
Okay.
next thing that's coming out is the force manual for Davian,
Yeah.
and that's been in the works or on the shelf for years at this point.
Oh,
So
really?
I'm really excited for that one.
Cool.
And that's going to kick off our force manual line, which is a redesign of our combat manuals. So it breaks down the faction and its um, uh, military assets and how players could build forces for that faction,
Yeah.
whether their favorite faction or it's the Op 4 or whatever. The one following that is House Karita,
Okay.
and
That's
currently in
Randall's
development.
favorite.
Yes, that's right. And currently in development is the Mercenaries Force Manual.
Okay.
And we have more in the works. The Invading Clans Force Manual, is deep in development, and then we have the rest of the houses are being worked on. We are trying very hard to get Ilkhan's Eyes Only. That's the next storyline source book out. That's where my head is at the moment.
Okay.
I'm very excited for that book because it's the first time we get a look back behind the wall on Terra and see what Alaric Ward and the Ill Clan and the new Star League, what's going on there with them.
Okay.
As well as we haven't really gotten a good look at what Daoxin Liao is doing around that area, because for years now he's been trying to get to Terra and take Terra and claim the title of Star-Lord. So really excited for this book. We've got really great people on it. Really excited for it. It's really late. And we hope to get that out this year.
Okay.
We also have, coming out this year is Hotspots Hinterlands.
Ooh.
Hotspots is a new series. It's named after an older series that it's the spiritual successor. It's a campaign book for which you can, play with your own either mercenary units or appropriate units for that area, taking place in the hinterlands, which is kind of currently a Wild West sort of anything goes area. Lots of brand new factions popping up as people are consolidating power. And we're really excited about that series, and we're actually already started in to develop another one to follow that up.
Okay.
Just in general, just to let everybody know what's on my plate at the moment, we're also really deep into audiobooks.
Ooh.
I know there's tons of questions about that, and let me tell you, there's tons of work being done. It's probably going to be opening the floodgates once it finally starts releasing. I have a very minor role. I just check pronunciations of certain in-universe stuff, but just based on my little role there, I'm being flooded with stuff on that front. So the audiobooks are coming.
Cool.
And probably going to get into Ace's work real soon.
Ooh.
There's a lot of questions there. There's a lot of excitement. But
maybe you can fill me in, because you were at Adepticon and I wasn't. So I haven't gotten to catch up on what's been on the streams yet. So what have we publicly said about Aces to this point?
We haven't said anything just yet. It's all still behind the scenes. We need to solidify some stuff that we want to do so we get an idea of the scope of work that's going to go into it before we explain the type of products and how they're going to be delivered.
Okay.
I'll say a few things, but take this with a grain of salt. The idea right now is for Aces to come out as part of sort of mini campaign boxes. We're talking about something just a little bit bigger than the current force packs, where you would get maybe a campaign booklet, some miniatures to go with it, some maybe supplemental material, so you could play little linked scenarios. And Aces would be built into that, so you could play cooperatively or solo in those campaigns. I'll just leave it at that. Another point is we're trying to coordinate with the work on the Mech Commander's Handbook, which will be our narrative campaign play book, so that if we get all our ducks in a row, we will have Aces in there as well. So from the get-go, you'll be able to play co-op or solo as part of our campaign construction book, meaning that people could get introduced via these packs and expand using the Mech Commander's book, or take what they have in the campaign Mech Commander's book and build out from these packs and sort of expand those little mini campaigns. That's what we're hoping for, but None of that has been developed yet.
Okay.
This is concept that we're going to start to see where we build from there. The third thing that you need to take with a bucket of salt is I should say, Tommy and his team, Linvander, has started development for aces for standard BattleTech.
What?
That's huge. That's huge. And if everything goes on track for that, that would be just absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
But where we are exactly with that, whether that will be part of these initial products, whether that'll be part of the initial Mech Commander's Handbook, I don't know. My hope, obviously, is that they're farther along in development, and that could be all part of that rollout. I'm super excited about that.
So it sounds to me, based on what you've said of the stuff that's coming that you're working on for this year, that a lot of it is source material. So is like I know that like you're doing these source books and John Helfer's is fiction, and like what about the plastic? Like is that also under your domain, or is that a third arm?
Yes and no. I'm part of that as well, in that I'm part of the team where we choose what we're going to create, what sets, what miniatures go in those sets, reviewing the designs and the artwork, the models themselves, the Q&A process for the models, all that.
Okay.
But when you're talking about the miniatures, the lion's share of that work is the design of them and the sculpting.
Cool.
Right. The sculptors, Anthony Scroggins and all his team under him, those are the stars of that product. Yeah. That's where 90% of the work is. But yeah, I'm part of that as far as the development of those packs and all.
Cool. All right. Well, that's the questions I have. So let's turn to our chat here for the last 17 minutes here. So I'm going to start with some BattleTech questions for you. This is from Prussian Havoc. For Ray, my favorite faction is the Rimworld's Republic. Can we please have some merch, fiction, and painted mech packs for Amaris's own?
Okay. Fiction, in general, I don't see anything for the Rimworlds in the near future because they're a faction from way long in the past, not something we normally deal with. So I could tell you pre-painted miniatures, I don't see that happening.
Mm-hmm.
Fiction, we get fiction every once in a while, and I could see that. I mean, pie in the sky, I would love a series on the Star League Civil War, where that would be a prominent thing with them. And then as far as merch, that's actually the most likely. I could swear that we already have some merch for them, but if not, at some point in the future, I'm sure we'll get Rimworld's merch.
Okay, cool. I'm going to ask you this one. If you want to defer this one to me, I'm fine with that. If not, please feel free to take it. I Am Belch asks, any updates on when the Star League and Irby Lamb Force packs will be out? And all the other stuff that was supposed to come out first quarter.
I actually think we got an update today, but I haven't read that email.
I have.
So okay.
So not everything, but a bunch of stuff. I believe, if I remember correctly, it's the 40th anniversary boxes, Star League, Irby Lamb, and I think the premiums, there might be one or two other things, have arrived at the warehouse. So now it's setting the street dates and getting those launched. So our warehouse needs to create the SKU and do all their processing and stuff with information from us, and then they'll be out. So I'd expect very, 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 very soon.
Okay, thank you.
Let's see. Prussian Havoc says, for Ray, last week Rem and Brent shared with us the upcoming cover for Ilkon's Eyes Only. Is there an estimated time frame when the source book might be available?
This year.
Cool.
I can't say any more than that because it's been rough and we've slipped off schedule a few times already with that book.
Okay.
Right this moment, everybody's working hard on it. I'm getting literal updates as we speak.
Cool. Okay. So no closer guess on that right now. Let's see. Another Prussian Havoc question. When last we left Clan Provisional Smoke Jaguar, they were without a vote in Il Clan. Can we expect some action and drama moving forward?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, as far as their seat on the council, and that goes for the Jade Falcons as well, Il Khan's Eyes Only covers that same 18-month period as the previous 3 source books. So within that time frame, you're not going to see much change with that. But moving forward, yes, and there's plenty of drama.
Cool. Okay. Awesome. So Takeo Kurita says Leah published videos of mechs in colored plastics, like a purple locust. Is that for the pre-painted mechs, or will you start publishing the mechs in different unpainted colors?
Those are not the pre-painted mechs for the force packs.
Nope.
I will say, and you could correct me, Rem, that's Leah. That's part of their business. I don't believe they check with us or give us a heads up of what they put out. So sometimes that's caught us off guard. I'm 90% sure I know what those are, but there's that 10%.
I'm in the same boat.
Yeah.
So nothing we are ready to comment on at this time.
Yeah.
Just enjoy the video.
and to kind of control expectations, it's not some absolutely huge hype new product. Just don't worry about it. They're colored mechs, and we'll talk about it soon. It's definitely cool, but it's not some huge.
It's not changing the line. It's not changing the game. It's not changing any of what you have come to expect of the basic force packs.
Yeah.
Cool. Les James asks, are Ray and Aaron going to make it to Southern Assault this year? It was cool to meet them last year.
That is the plan. Furthermore, we're trying to convince Randall. But very likely that you'll see Aaron and myself there.
Cool. Awesome. All right, so let's see. Prussian Havoc asks again, for Ray, pictures are worth 1,000 words. Just how important has BattleTech's esteemed artists been to the game?
It would not be an exaggeration to say that the whole renaissance we've had is due to the quality of art that we've had the past almost a decade at this point.
Cool. Wow. White Fox, why are the new force manuals not up to the current Il Clan era?
I would say that's one of those hard developmental choices where it was an issue of timing. We wanted to bring those combat manuals back. They were really well received. We just didn't have the audience for that quality of book. I mean, if you look at what we were producing then, and then the combat manuals were a whole nother level. With the Clan Invasion Kickstarter, we got to that level where we could produce these books. We just wanted to revise them so that they were friendly to both BattleTech and Alpha Strike players. Once we got that into motion, we started to develop the storyline in the Il Clan era. But we were riding on the nostalgia of the Clan Invasion. Mm-hmm. So we were kind of caught. Do we scrap all the work that had been done and start over, or do we keep going? So we came up with a compromise. We're going to keep going with these books, which cover, honestly, the most popular eras, the Succession War and the Clan Invasion. We're going to be producing PDFs corresponding to these books that update all the information to the Il Clan era. Mm. So we will try to cover all those bases. But it was just a hard choice. It was a lot of thinking, a lot of debating, and that's where we are.
Cool. Question for you, Ray, from Russell Zimmerman. Come on now, Ray. You can't tell us to look for imaginary made-up titles and not give us an example of one of them.
What's that referring to?
Your titles you gave yourself before you were line developer.
I'd have to look them up, but there's stuff like creative director, production manager, maybe. I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know, but yeah, there must have been 3 or 4 titles I just made up for myself. Also to see if anybody was paying attention.
I like that. That's awesome. General question, and very relevant to the news that has come out yesterday. Adepticon is moving to Milwaukee. Any expected changes to Catalyst's presence, or is it too soon to know?
It is, well, I wouldn't be as involved in that sort of planning. You'd probably have a better answer than me, but I assume it's too early yet. But I'm thinking it's probably a good thing. No?
I agree. I think, like, I know that there were demo agents and groups that were like begging for more table space that Adepticon just didn't have to give us. Like, I know Randall asked, I know Mary asked, I know everyone was asking, and there was just nowhere to go. So I think this can only be good in terms of growth and space for everyone.
Yeah.
Big Red asks, why is Ray wearing a pirate hat? Is Ray a pirate?
I am. I'm not sure exactly what he means. I assume that's a jab at the faction. If he means the hat itself, this is an official Catalyst Game Labs produced merch. So
I really appreciate also, chat. You should know that Ray warned me, since I had Brent last week, that for every 100 words of Brent's, Ray would give me 1. Yeah. So I really like when you give me answers like, I am. Next question. Kara Mindy asks, are the foil puzzles no more, or are more on the way?
There aren't any more as far as I'm aware. Doesn't mean that it's not happening, but I haven't heard any discussion of making any more. And I'm not really aware of how they did, if they did all right, or I didn't really follow that.
Yeah, I don't know about the BattleTech ones. I know the Shadowrun ones didn't do as well as everyone hoped. Okay. We've been able to use them for prize support and stuff like that instead, but I have not heard anyone talk about bringing puzzles back.
Yeah, that's a huge factor.
Yeah. Well, I do have some questions for Leviathans. Unfortunately, I don't really have answers at this time. It's mid-month, which means on the 15th of every month, I ask Bryn for an update, and then it takes him a few days to get back to me. So you know what I know per the last backer update. So that's all I have right now. I do know the only other update I do have is at Adepticon, I came to the very end when Booth was being torn down, and the lead demo agent that runs all the Leviathan stuff, he had some foam with some of the ships. I think they're still the old ships, but they were like newly printed, newly painted, all of that stuff. And I stole a set to take with me and show off at all the shows. So, so those will be at trade shows, being promoted with the box cover and stuff like that for retailers to get some excitement. But that's the only news I really have right now. Let's see. Bovie asks, Ray, do you have a favorite moment in the BattleTech timeline, or a moment that you contributed to that you are proud of?
Okay, well, two separate questions then. I'm most proud of the Ill Clan era so far, what we've managed to do with it, and excitement that I think we've generated. You know, answered some questions, some lingering issues, created more drama. I'm really proud of the team that we have and everything that we've been able to do with this era. Now, just personally, I'm not sure if this is exactly the question. My favorite time period is the Succession Wars, fourth Succession War. You know, if there's a favorite moment, it's probably from the Warrior trilogy where Hans Davian jumps in his Battlemaster and takes on the supposed Death Commandos on New Avalon.
Ooh.
That scene really sticks out of my head all these years later. So several answers there. Hopefully one of them answers that question.
Awesome. All right. This is another from Prussian Havoc. What is a day in the life of a BattleTech line developer like?
There's lots of ibuprofen.
Oh, it's not funny because it's true, but
right?
It's funny.
Right? The lack of sleep you mentioned earlier, there's that.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I don't have anything regimented, and if I did, I'd probably be a lot better off.
Mm-hmm.
But it's mostly taking things as they come: emails, phone calls, DMs, messages, and dealing with whatever fire's burning the hottest.
Yeah.
The good days are where I remind myself this is all actually fun. And I prefer doing this than the conventional jobs I've had over the years.
Mm-hmm.
But you know, work is work.
Yeah.
Regardless. So have to remind myself that I really do love it.
Yeah. Yeah. I see your question in there, Tommy. Good to see you in chat. Maybe if you showed up on time, you'd have seen my whole 5 minutes. I just ranted and raved on how great the upcoming stream is for next week. But you show up late, you miss the party. So I'm gonna have to watch the rerun. But seriously, thank you for being here, Tommy. We did talk about Aces. We did talk about World of Shadows, and we're really excited for all of it. So. What else?
Sorry, Tommy, I have not read the 100+ messages on Discord just yet. I will be doing that today.
And that's why we don't sleep and have anxiety. All right, so we've got Big Red asks, can there be a Marauder 3 or even 4?
Sure, probably. Also check out Xtro Caveat Empor. Got some of that in there.
Ooh. Jeremy S. asks, can we have a crab heavy mech so we can complete the set?
Funny story, it's a Marauder.
Oh?
That's my standard answer.
Oh. If you gave me a facial expression, I might know if that's a joke or not. Karamindy asks, Ray, how proceeds work on updating map sheets from the old collections?
Well, I'm not sure how to answer that. First off, Brent has been leading that whole charge. However, we're not updating them map by map, set by set. It's every time we do a new map set, we take a look at all the old maps and see if one of those fits within the theme of the current set that we're developing. And then we'll pick from these old ones and do new artwork and all that. So not in itself a thing.
Okay. All right. Well, with that, we are at 5 o'clock on the dot Eastern time. So thank you all for joining us today. Really appreciate all of the chats, all of the questions. Ray, thank you for everything you do, being here, and keep driving the boat on this game that everyone loves. So thank you.
Thank you, and thank you, everybody.
Yeah. We will be here next week. I'm really hoping that we'll have a big announcement for next week, but that depends on a couple of approvals. So my guest will probably, might shift depending on that. But I'm really hoping if you see Jason Hardy here next week, you know that it's going to be a good show with good announcements and good news. But we've got a couple of cool guests coming up, a couple cool things to talk about. So I'm excited. But thank you all for being here, and we will see you next time. So, bye.